In this video, I want to challenge myself to create an awesome personal portfolio website in WordPress with Gutenberg. So I went to Google and asked for the best personal portfolio websites. And I clicked around and I found this cool looking website. It has this amazing video background with a call to action in the header. Then it has this personal introduction and then all the services that he provides. And then a sneak peek into some of the projects, some important blog posts and an image gallery here. And it closes off with this simple and stylish footer. I believe this website was created with Squarespace, so it is interesting to see how we can replicate a Squarespace website in WordPress. Now, I will use the structure of this web page to do a tutorial from scratch, but I will not replicate this entire page completely. I will use different text as well as royalty-free images and videos so that I can share all the materials with you to download and follow along without getting into some legal troubles later on. And honestly, I spent a lot of time and effort searching for the right images and videos for this tutorial, so if I can get a thumbs up from you, that will be amazing. And obviously, the point of us using Gutenberg Blocks to create web pages is to have it load fast and pass Core Web Vitals. So let's first check how this website performs on Google PageSpeed Insights, and we will compare it to our creation at the end of this video. We want to see if it is worth using Gutenberg to create this personal portfolio website. And here we go, it does not fetch a good score. Let's see if we can do better. Let's go. Hey, this is Jack, and if this is your first time on my channel, I focus a lot on WordPress tutorials with Gutenberg Blocks, and my main focus is to help you get a site speed of 90 plus on Google PageSpeed Insights. And if that is your goal, then subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so you won't miss any of my videos. Anyway, I need to first apologize if you see some jump cuts in the tutorial, because honestly, I'm building this personal portfolio page from scratch for the first time while recording this tutorial, and there are bound to be mistakes. I don't want to waste your time see me make all those mistakes, so I try my best to eliminate all the mistakes from the video so you can follow along smoothly without any hiccups. Okay, now that I've made the disclaimer, let me give you an overview of what we are gonna do. We'll first install the themes and plugins and do some basic settings. Then we will start to create the header, which is the top part of the website. After that, we'll create the footer of the site, followed by building the hero section with this video background, and then the rest of the page. Right after that, we will optimize the page for mobile users, and finally optimize the page for speed and see if we beat the score of the page we are replicating. And before we get into a tutorial, I hope you can do me a favor and smash that thumbs up button if you find this video helpful, and let's go. Now, since I promised we will start from scratch, here we are. On the left is the WordPress backend, and this is where all the action is. Whatever that is adjusted here will be reflected on the right, which is the live page. And as you can see, this is the default WordPress install. And if we want to reference the site we are replicating, we have this tab over here. This is the setup I'm used to when creating web pages with Gutenberg. I don't like to rely on the WordPress editor for reference. I like to see the changes immediately on the live page. And I don't like to flip around toggling between tabs. I like to see everything on one screen. Anyway, the first thing we need to do is to install a theme. And the theme we are using is the free Blocksy theme. So if we go over to Appearance and Themes, let's add new. And over here in the search bar, let's search for Blocksy. And here we go. Let's install this. And let's activate this. Now what we want to do is to remove all the other themes for housekeeping purposes. We don't want to keep too many themes around. And the next thing we need to do is to install a plugin. So let's go to the plugins tab and let's add new. Now we will search for a plugin called Stackable. This is the plugin we will use to add elements to a page. So let's install this and activate. Now, this step is to allow freemiums to collect non-sensitive data from your website. If you want to allow that, you can click here and follow through with the steps. Otherwise, we will skip it. And we are basically done. Now, Stackable is one of the best Gutenberg block plugins I've tried. They have lots of templates and cool features, and their pro version provides even more amazing stuff such as dynamic content and more design options. If you want to check them out, you can use this link. I've left a link in the description as well. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to use the free version, which basically means this block plugin is awesome. You can create something amazing using just the free version. Anyway, let's continue on. We need to create a blank page to be used as a home page. Let's go over to the pages and add new. Let's call this page home, and let's publish this page. Now, I know some of you who are new to WordPress are worried that once the page goes live, everyone will see how your web page will look like and you might feel embarrassed about it. But honestly, nobody will know about your website. It is not ranking on any search engines, you are not sharing it on any social media channels. Unless you tell somebody about your website, nobody will actually visit it. So don't worry about that. And there is a reason why I need to publish a blank page. If we refresh the live page, you will see the default block row from Blocksy theme, but we need this page to be editable, and that's why we are creating a new page. And to make this page a home page, let's go back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking on this, and we need to go to settings under reading. As you can see here, your home page displays. Let's select a static page, and under home page, we will select the page we have just created. And if we don't publish that page, we will not see this here. And that's why we did that. Anyway, let's save changes. And now as we refresh the live page, you will see this changed because this will now reflect whatever that is on the blank page we've created. And now we are basically done with the initial installation and the setup process. Let's now work on building this header to look like this. Now to edit the header area, we need to go to Appearance and Customize. And that will bring you to the theme customizer where you can customize everything related to the theme. And if you don't know, the theme basically controls the header, the footer, the sidebar if there's any. And that's basically it. Whatever else that is on your page is customized in the page we've just created. So basically in this sense, the header and the footer are controlled by the theme. And everything else over here within the page itself are customizable on the page. So now that we have a clear understanding, let's customize the header. If you look to the left of your theme customizer, you'll see this header here. Let's click on this. Now let me open this up a little so we can see all the stuff on the header. And now we are on the desktop view. And if we click on this, this will be on the tablet view. And if we click on this as well, this will be on the mobile view. But for now, let's focus on the desktop view. We'll leave all the mobile customization towards the end. Now the first thing we need to do is to add the menu items. If you look at a header and you compare it to here, you can basically see there is a logo which is represented by this My WordPress, and then we have a menu 1 which is over here. This is the home and sample page. This is the default setting of menu 1, and then we have a search which is right here. If we want to customize the menu items, all we need to do is to click on this menu and the customization options will open up on the left. And what I really like about the Blocksy theme is that they have 4 pre-made header styles, as you can see. I would select this because it's the closest to what we want. We can adjust the item spacing. As you can see, there are more spaces here as I toggle. We'll keep this at 25. And the item's height, we can make it smaller like this. And if you want to stretch the menu, you can do so, but we're not going to do that. And we'll keep the rest of the settings. Let's now add some menu items. So over here at the select menu, if you open this up, you can see there is only one default menu. And if you want to manage your menu, you need to go to the menu screen. And to get there, over at the cross, let us right click and open up in the new tab. And you can see it brought us back to the WordPress dashboard. Let's head over to Appearance and then Menus. And let's give the menu a name. Let's say this is for the main page. So I'll just put main and I'll choose the content in this menu is to replace the header menu 1. Which you can see over here. And then we want the same items to be on the mobile menu as well. So we check this and let's create the menu. Now, because this is a completely blank website, we don't have any pages to add as a menu item or even the post. So what we need to do is to add custom links. And because we don't have the URL yet, let's add a hashtag here so that when someone clicks on the menu item, they will not be redirected to anywhere else. Let's add the first menu item. Let's call it causes. Let's add to menu. Next, let's add a second item. Let's call it voice training. And third, guitar lessons. Now, because voice training and guitar lessons should be nested under courses. And what we are trying to achieve here in the menu is to just display the courses and have these 2 items as a drop down when somebody hovers to courses. To do that, let's hover to voice training, click and drag it out. And you can see this item becomes a sub item. Let's do the same for guitar lessons. Let's click and drag it out. And we're basically done for the courses. Let me add the rest and I will fast forward the process. And we are done. Let us select the display location again. I'm not sure why they didn't capture previously. So let's check the header menu 1 and then the mobile menu and save it. And now that we have the menu items done, let's go back to the WordPress customizer and let's refresh it. But before that, let's publish this first so that we'll save all the changes previously made and we'll refresh it. And here we go. These are all the menu items. Now we want to bring this menu to the middle. So let's go to header and let's click and drag this menu one to the middle, and there we have it. The next thing we're going to do is to add a logo. Let's click on this and let's select logo and let's select files. And again, all these images and videos are downloadable. The link is in the description. So if you want to follow along, you definitely want to download this. Let's select this logo. And for search engine optimization purposes, let's give this logo an alt text. So this could be your name or whatever, because this is your personal portfolio website. Let's change the title as well and let's select this logo. And right now you can't see the logo because it's white and the background is white, so it is blended with the background. We'll change that in a while, but now we don't want this My WordPress here. So over on the left, you can see this site title. Let's toggle this off and you will see the My WordPress gone. Now what we want to do next is to add a call to action here, because as you can see from the site we're trying to replicate, they have this cart item over here. But honestly, on our personal portfolio, we are not trying to sell something. We are selling our skills, so we want people to contact us. But that is subjective. Anyway, so instead of a cart, let's add a button. Let's click on this to go back to the header section. And as you can see, there is this button here. Let's click and drag it down right beside the search, and honestly we can delete this search. And to customize the button, let's click on this, and for the button style we just want the border, what they call it, ghost. You can choose the size of the button. I prefer to have it small, and for the label, let's change this to contact me, or maybe just contact is good enough. And then for the link, if we want somebody to call us, all we need to do is to change this hashtag into something like this. It's basically TEL : and your phone number. If you're working on an international scale, then your first few characters are your country code. For the US is 1, but for Singapore, which is the country I'm living in, is 65. And then the rest are your phone numbers. Next, I want to change the color of this border. So we'll go to the design and we'll change the colors here. For the initial color, we want to change it to something like this. And then for the hover color, we want to change it to something similar, but maybe a little darker, so that as you hover, you can see the contrast. Now for the font color of the button, we want it to be the same color as well. And for the hover, we'll leave it as it is because we definitely want a contrast over here. And we're almost done with the header. The next thing we want to do is to change the colors of these menu items. We want the font to be white, and we want the hover animation to have the same color as the button. The background and the font color of the drop down, we want to change it to match the color of the button as well. So let's go to menu 1 and let's select design. For the font initial color, we want it to be white. And as you can see, it is now blended with the white background. But don't worry about that, because in the end, we need to change the header to a transparent background. And for the hover, we want to change it to the same color as the button. The active color, we want to change it to white as well. And here we go. Now for the active indicator color, we want to change it to the same color as well. And as you can see, this looks quite decent already. Now for the drop down options, let's go to design as well. The background color, let's change it to this color as well. And for the hover, let's change it to the same color, but maybe a little darker. And we are basically done. Now the next thing we need to do is to turn this header background transparent. And then we want to reduce the height of this header as well. So let's go over to the main row and then let's edit the settings of it. And as you adjust this, can you see the height of the header adjusting? We'll keep it to 60. And then let's change the background to transparent. Now the thing is, a transparent header is actually a feature from Blocksy Pro. You basically have to upgrade a theme to the Pro version to get this. But I've discovered a hack and you can do this for free. But make sure to know that if we turn this background to transparent, every page and post on our website, the header will be transparent. If you want controls over that, you need to upgrade to the Blocksy Pro. And if you want to do that, you can use this link to check out what other Pro features they have. I've left a link in the description as well. Anyway, to make the header transparent, let's go to design. For the background, let's click on this. And if we see over here, this is the toggle to control the opacity of the header. And as you can see, the header is now transparent. You can't see the white anymore. And that's basically it. We are done with the customization of the header. Now let's customize the footer. Now let's head over to the site we are replicating. If we scroll down all the way to the bottom, we can see that they have this email, this phone number, logo, as well as some social icons. And at the bottom, there is this copyright text as well as terms of service, return policy, and privacy policy. We don't need the return policy because we are not selling anything on the site. I'll give you the templates to create the privacy policy page as well as a cookie policy. And as for the terms of service, it is subjective, so you may have to seek a legal consultant to draft that for you, or you can just Google it and maybe reference some other sites to draft it on your own. Now let's create the cookie policy first. Let's go back to the second tab, and on the WordPress dashboard, let's go to Pages and Add New, and let's add a title. Let's call this Cookie Policy. And the next thing you need to do is to open up a new tab. You need to go down to the description to reach this page. This is the cookie policy template I have for you. Once you click on the link, you'll be sent here. So what you need to do is to copy everything here. Let's hit Ctrl+C to copy. But if you're on Mac, then it's Command+C. And let's head back to our page, click over here and Ctrl+V to paste it here. And we're basically done. Let's publish this. Take note of this URL because we'll need it. Now let's create the privacy policy. Let's go back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking on this, but I want to open up in a new tab. And as you can see, there is this default privacy policy page, which is on draft. So we want to hit edit. And the same thing, in the description, there is another link that will send you here. Make sure to make a copy of this. So what you need to do is to copy everything and head over to the page. Click here once, scroll down to the bottom, hold the shift key and click on the end and you'll select everything. Now hit the delete key on your keyboard and everything is gone. What you need to do next is to Ctrl+V or Command+V and everything will be here. Now, as you can see here, there is this cookie policy, but by default, it is yourdomainname.com/cookie policy, and that's not the right address. The right address is over here, the one we have just published. So you need to copy this link, head over to your page, edit this link, and paste it here, and hit this submit. Now there's another cookie policy. Let's Ctrl+F to find on the page. Let's search for cookie, and you'll see this link over here. Let's edit this, paste it here, hit submit. Let's see if there's any other links. Nope, there's only 2 links on this page. And make sure that you change your domain name to your actual domain name. For example, jackchildtv.com. So to do that, hit Ctrl+F to find on your page, search for your domain, and they will highlight everything over here. So what you need to do is to change this to jackchildtv, and then next, they have it here again. And over at your email address, you can put a Gmail or whatever email you want. I will fast forward the process, but you get a general idea. And now we are done. Let's publish this and we can close this tab as well as the cookie policy and privacy policy. And for this cookie policy, let's click on this WordPress logo to go back to the WordPress dashboard. This is for later use. Now let's go back to the WordPress customizer. Let's hit back and back again. Now let's go over to footer. Let me expand this. Now just a cautionary note, what you see over here might change because due to the fact that WordPress 5.8 allows you to customize your sidebar and the footer using Gutenberg blocks. So I'm pretty sure whatever that is taught here will be changed very soon. But anyway, let's continue with this. Now let's change the background color of the footer. Over at the middle row, let's click on this, and over at the design, the row background, we want to change it to black. But because it was transparent, let's turn this up to black. And you can't see anything yet because we haven't added any content over here. Let's do the same for the bottom row as well. Let's click on this. Let's go to designs. Let's change this color to black. But let's turn this up. And you'll see the background as black. For the top row as well, we want to do the same thing. And we're done. Next, we have to add some links at the top row, a logo in the middle, and some social icons. But right now, as you can see, there are only 2 columns here. We need 3. So at the top row, which is over here, let's go to general. For the columns, let's select 3. And now you can see 3 columns here. Let's head back. But before that, let me show you something. Because since we have a transparent background and all our text are whites by default, let's change something called the color palette. So if we hit back, we go to the main menu of the theme customizer. Let's head over to colors. And over here, the first two colors are basically the colors of the links. And then for the dark colors, which is color 3 and 4, they basically control the color of the fonts. And for colors 5, 6, 7, and 8, they control the background color of your site. So since we want the entire site to have a white font and a black background, let's change this. For all the light colors, we want to turn it dark. As you can see, the background is now black. And for the darker colors, let's turn it white. And we have a good contrast here. Now I'm curious why the fonts of the menu items is not showing, because I remember setting it white. So let's go back, go to the header, and then to the menu. Let's go to the design, and here we are. This is the color we need to change. And here we go. And there's one more thing. Let's go back to colors. We forgot to change the color of the links. So let's change the blue to the colors that matches the button. And we're done. Let's publish this and let's go back. Let's go to footer. Let's drag this widget area 1 over here at the top row. And let's add a widget. Let's add a custom HTML. And as I said, this might change by the time you watch this. You may not need to add custom HTMLs anymore because now you can design your footer using Gutenberg blocks. But anyway, we need to add an email. So this is the email we need to add, and we want to make this a clickable link. So this is what you need to do. This is the start of a HTML code. And for it to have a link, you need to add a space href equals open inverted commas, and you want to put in mail to colon, and then this is the email we want people to mail to. And let's close this off. All codes are usually easy to understand. Whenever you open something, you have to close something off. Like when you have an open inverted comma, you have a close inverted comma. And then we have to close off this a tag. So let's close this, and automatically it will come out with a close a tag. But now the email is gone because we need to add something within this a tag. So let's copy the email and paste it within the tag, and you'll see it reappearing. Anyway, if you don't want to type these codes, I have the sample code for you in the same folder. Links in the description. Now next we have to add a telephone number, but we have to do it on a separate line. So the HTML code for going to the next line is BR. And let's add a new link. Let's call this telephone colon 65 234 4567 800, and let's close this off. And let's copy this and let's put this within the a tag, and we have it here. But we want to highlight the country code, and here we go. And now we want to change the white color of this text into the color of the button. So within the a tag, let's space, put in style equals the color we want. And I forgot to put in a color. And there we go. Let's copy this and paste it right here. And we are basically done. Next, let's add a logo in the middle. So let's go back. Let's drag widget area 2 to the middle. Let's click on this and add a widget. Let's select image and let's add an image. Let's upload files. Let's select files and let's select this footer logo. Let's change this link to none and add to widget. And here we go. Make sure to centralize the logo, and for the vertical alignment as well, let's centralize this. Let's do the same for widget area 1. Let's centralize this. And next we need to add social icons here. So let's go back. Over here you can see the socials. Let's click and drag it over here, and here we go. Let's click on socials. The same thing, we want to align it center. And we want to put Instagram at the top, and then Facebook, Twitter. We want to add LinkedIn. For the icon size, we want to change it to a little bigger, maybe 18. And for the spacing, we want to spread it out a little, so maybe 25. And let's change the color of the icons. We want the initial color to be the same as the links. And if we want this hover to be white, we can do this as well. If you want to know how to add links to these social icons, it basically says go to general, go to layout, and then social network accounts. They even have a link here. Let's click on this and you can add your links over here. So for this step, I'll leave it up to you. I'll leave it blank. Let's go back. We are basically done with the first part. Now we need to add this copyright text. Let's go to footer. For us, the copyright text is at the bottom row. That is by default, but that's not what we want. So we want to shift it up. Let's click on this and we can change the text. So we have a copyright here. If you don't want this, you can just delete it. And this is the code that will draw the current year. Instead of putting this 2021, we'll use this code so that when next year comes, this will actually change to 2022. So you don't have to manually change this. For the site title, let's delete all this and let's change it to your name. All rights reserved. And I think this is good enough. Next, we have the footer menu. So we need to create a new menu. Let's go to Appearance and Menus. Let's create a new one. And let's call this Footer. Let's select Footer menu and create it. Now, because we have created the cookie policy page, we can select this and add to menu. And let's view all. We have the privacy policy page as well. Let's add to it. Now we need to add a custom link for the terms of service. So let's add to it. Let's bring this terms of service to the top and make sure to check this footer menu. Otherwise, this will not show. Let's save menu and let's go back to the customizer. Let's publish this first so that all the changes that we have made will be saved. And let's refresh the page. Now let's go to footer. Let's select the footer menu and drag it to the bottom. And let's align it center. Let's go to design. For the color, we want this. And as we hover, we want it white. And there we go. Now there's one more very important setting, which is the fonts of your website. So let's go back and let's go to typography. For the base font, the font that I usually use, which a lot of designers like to use, is Poppins. And one more thing, as you can see the footer text here, they are all capital letters, which is not what we want. We want something like this with an underline as well. So let's click on footer menu and let's go to design. Over here, there is this 3 dots here. Let's click on this. Let's change this to capitalize and let's add an underline. We don't want it to be bold, so let's make it regular. And here we go. This looks exactly like this. Now let's publish this and let's see how it looks like on the live page. So this is a little too spaced out. Let's change that. Let's click on the bottom row, the row vertical spacing. Let's reduce this down to maybe 16. And then let's go to middle row. Let's change the vertical spacing as well, down to maybe 16 as well. And let's publish this, refresh the live page. It seems this is not aligned to the center. The settings is in the copyright. So we need to click on the copyright and align this center. Let's publish this. And I'm pretty sure we are done. So as we can see, this is quite identical to this. Now before we move on to the next section, we have one more important thing to do. If we hover to our page tab, you can see My WordPress. And we have this default WordPress logo. This doesn't look professional. If we look at the site we are trying to replicate, you can see that they have a customized description as well as their site logo, which is called a favicon. So we're going to change that. So let me open this up a little. And as we go back again, if we scroll down, you can see over here under the core section, we have this site identity. Let's open this up and here we go. You can change this site title to your name and you can add a site tagline as well because you don't want this tagline to appear anywhere on your site. And then we want to select a site icon. Let's upload files and then let's select this favicon, change the title and give this an alt text and let's select this. Let's skip cropping and let's publish this. Now as we refresh, take note of this. As you can see now, it is home-my WordPress. And now it is called Home Justin Chambers. And if we refresh this as well, we can see that the site logo is appearing as well as My WordPress has now changed to your name. So now that we are done with the header, the footer and the core stuff, let's concentrate on whatever that is on this page. Let's go. So now let's expand this out. We are done with the theme customizer, so let's click on this X to exit out to the WordPress dashboard. And then we gotta go to the pages, all pages, and edit the blank home page we have created. Now let's add a block, browse all, scroll all the way to the bottom. We see all the stackable blocks here. Let's click on this header. And then let's make this full width. And we want to select the plain style. Let's go to styles. We want to make it full height and restrict to content width. Let's update this first and let me show you what is happening on the live page. We have a header section that is taking the full height of the screen, and we have a title block which is over here, and the description. It is blended to the background because it is white. So this is really hard to see. Let's adjust the background color of this. Let's head over to Blocksy settings, and under design, we want to change the page background to black so it's easier for us to design the page. And then next, I want to hide this page title. So over at page title, let's disable this. Let's update, refresh, and the home is gone. Now we will change the text of this. And then it doesn't have a description. So let's click on this setting. Under the block, we want to toggle this subtitle off. So as you can see, the description is gone. And we need to change the settings of this button. Over at the block settings, let's open this up. We want a ghost button, but the button color, we want to select this. The hover effect, let's say this is lift, or maybe lift and scale, or maybe just none. But I want to change to normal button on hover, so we'll look like this. And the hover color, I want to change this to white. No, actually the text color, I want to change it to white. So we'll look like this. Now let's check this out. We don't have a video to watch, so we'll leave it as it is, but we're going to add a video background. Let me close this off. Make sure you don't hit this to reset the hover colors. If you want to close the previous tab, make sure you hit edit, because if you click anywhere else, it doesn't close. You have to click on this. Now let's add a video to the background. Let's scroll down all the way to the bottom. We can see this block background. The good thing about Stackable is that whenever you hover to it, they will give you a snippet of what you're going to edit. So as you can see, you're basically changing the block background. So let's toggle this on, and we want to add a video. Let's upload files. Let's select this video, which is fully optimized for you to use. And let's select this. And as you can see, the video background is awesome, but we need to have a little bit of tint. Let's change the tint strength to maybe 8 or maybe 7. I think this is good enough. And let's update this, refresh, and let's see how our website looks right now. Now it's looking decent, but the thing is we need to shift this up. So let's click on this. Let's go to advanced under block spacing. For the block margin, we want to bring this up, maybe 150. And let's update this and try it. Okay, quite cool. And now that we are done with this, we forgot to change the text of this button. So let's click on this. Let's say to maybe contact me or something like this. Let's update. And we are done with the header section. The next thing we want to do is to do something like this. So let's go. Now before that, I want to mention that I will do a separate video to show you how to create and optimize a video for your website, because when you upload a video without optimizing it, the size of it is usually big and it might cause your website to slow down. So if you want to know how I created this video with optimization, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so you won't miss that video. So now we want to do something like this. And let's add a block, browse all, let's scroll all the way to the bottom, and let's select this feature block. Let's click on this, and then we want to open up the settings of the block. Make sure this is the block setting. We don't want the page setting, but the block setting. And we want to select plain, and let's go to styles. Because the image is on the left, and for ours it is on the right, so we want to reverse horizontally. And then we want to add some spacing to the block background. So let's go to advanced and block spacing. For the block padding, let me show you how it works. If I add maybe 100, you can see that all the text and all the items within the block has shifted down. So we want it to be maybe 250. So as we scroll down, we have a lot of space in between just like this. But this is a bit too much, so maybe we want to change this to 100. I think this is good enough. Now let's add an image. Let's upload files and let's select this. You want to put in the alt text and select. And here we go. Next, for the title, I'll put in something like this. And then let me change the typography. Let's put this as 400 so it wouldn't look bold. And then for the text here, let's put in something like this. Again, all the content and everything is in the same folder. You should be able to easily find it. And as for the button, let's scroll down a little. We see the button here. Let's expand this. The button style, we want it ghost. And as for the color, we want this. And then as we hover, we want to turn it into a normal button. The button size, I want to make it large. The radius is basically the curve at the corner of the button. So if I turn this 0, you can see the corner turning into a right angle. Let's change the text of the button. The typography, we want to change the size of the text to maybe 16. And then we want to add an icon. Let's search for an arrow. Let's say this. And we want to select this and turn this position to right. And the size of the icon, let's fix it at 16. And we are more or less done with this section. Now to make this consistent, for the block spacing, because we have a top padding of 100, let's make the bottom padding 100 as well. And we're basically done with this section. Let's go to the next. So we have a heading here, and we have something like the 6 info boxes. So over on our site. Now let's add a block, browse all. Let's scroll all the way to the bottom, and we see this feature grid here. Next, we want to open up the settings. We'll keep this basic. And then as for the style, we want it 3 columns. For the container, we want the border. And the background, we want it to be transparent. So we'll put this opacity as 0. Let's close this off. For the border color, let's change this to something like this. And for the border radius, we'll put this as maybe 5 or actually 3. Now for the border width, we want to open this up so that we can control the border of each side. Because over here, as you can see, the left border is a little thicker than the rest. So over here on the left border, let's change this to 3. The border radius, I think we better put it 1. So it looks exactly like this. We're done with the container setting. Let's close this off. And now over at the image, we don't need the image. So let's toggle this off. And as for the title, let's put this as a H3 tag. And for the typography, we want to put the weight as 400. And now we are done with this. We want to align the title left. Let's close off the title settings and then open up the description settings. Let's align this left as well. And we're done. For the button text, let's first align this to left. Button color, we want to select this. And we are basically done with the design. Now it looks similar to our reference site. Now what we want to do is to open this up. You see this list view. Let's open this up. And then let's select the feature grid. So once you click that, this feature grid will be selected. And what we want to do is to open up the options. And we want to duplicate it. So now we have 6 boxes here. Let's close this off and let's input the text. Now I've actually some text prepared, so I'll fast forward the process. If you want to use the same text, the content is in the same folder as the images and videos. And we're done with this section, but the thing is they have this header over here and we need to add ours. So what we need to do is select this block and scroll down all the way to the bottom. The good thing about Stackable block is that every block itself, they have this section where you can add a title. The title is not a separate block by itself. Now we want the title to be in the middle. So under the block title settings, let's change this to align center. And then let's click on this to change the typography. The weight, we'll put it as 400. Let's make this a little bigger. Let's say it's 45. And over at our reference site, it is everything Squarespace. And for us, let's put this as music creation is everything. So you can just be creative. You don't need to follow exactly what I do. And we are basically done with this section. Let's see what we need to do next. We have this small text plus this header. So that's what we're gonna do. Now let's go to our page. It says here latest Squarespace projects, so we can maybe put latest studio recording projects. And let's bold this. Next, let's add a heading. And let me show you a trick. Hit // and search for hit, and you will see all this here. Let's select this. I know this is from Stackable. And now over here, take a look at some of my latest Squarespace projects. So let's copy that and paste this here. Take a look at some of my latest studio projects. And then let's edit the typography. Let's change this weight to 400. And as we scroll down, let's close this off first. We don't need the subtitle. So let's close this off. And we are basically done here. But I gotta add some space in between this, as well as close up the gap over here. So the default paragraph from the WordPress editor, I don't have much settings here. That's why I cannot control the spacing from this block. What we need to do is to click on the block above it, and we can change the spacing. Now there's a differentiation between the padding in the style tab and the padding and margin from this advanced tab. The padding in the style tab basically lets you control all the spaces within this box. So for example, if I expand this out, if I want to add some space between here, we'll select the bottom and we'll add maybe 150, and you can see there are more spaces here. The same thing goes for the top padding. That's how it works. But the padding and margin from the advanced tab, you're basically controlling the space outside the box. So for example, the block margin, if you want to shift this entire block of text down, let's select the top padding. Let's add maybe 150. You can see there are a lot more space in between here. As you can see from this example, you're basically shifting everything down or up. You can control the left and right as well. But as for the block padding, as you can see, you're adjusting whatever that is within the block. But in this case, you can't actually see the difference because there is no border or anything like that. But just note that for padding, you're controlling whatever that is within the block. And for margin, you're controlling everything that is outside of it. Anyway, I don't want this spacing. So over here, let's remove it and we're done. Now for this as well, we want to close the gap. So instead of selecting this where we cannot control the spacing, let's select this advanced heading and let's go to advanced, block spacing. For the margin, if it's a positive number, it will shift down. But if I want to shift up, then it will be a negative number. Great, I think we are done with this. Let's see what's next. We have these two image boxes. So let's do this. Let's add a block, browse all. Scroll all the way to the bottom and let's select this feature grid again. Now let's open up the settings. This time around we want it plain and we want only 2 columns. We don't want the title. We don't need the button. Let's open up the image. Now let's select this and let's add an image. Let's select this. Let's add alt text and select. As you can see, the image will take shape of the block we've just selected. And if you want more shapes, you can get Stackable Pro. But for now, we just select square or maybe just default. I think this is good enough. Let's close the settings and let's go to description. Let's align this left. Let's change this text to, and we're done. Now, if you want to add a link to this image, all you need to do is to toggle this on. And you can add the link here. This is URL number 1, which is this. And this is URL number 2, which is over here. So let's close this off. And let's add the second image. And we are basically done with this section. Let's update this and let's see what's next. We have this latest blog post, a heading, and a feature grid. So let's copy this over here at this blog. Let's right click and paste it here. But before that, we have to add more spacing in between here. So let's scroll down. Actually, it's in the advanced block settings. For the block margin, the bottom of it, we want to add 100 and we're done. Let's copy this text as well because it will copy all the styles and let's hit enter, right click, paste. Now let's copy this, read through some of my thoughts and insights on being a singer and sound engineer. And then next we need to add a block, select feature grid, select plain, align everything to the left, and let's go to the style. Open up the image settings. The image will align center, and then let's add some images. Let's select this. And here we go. So for the title, I'll put this. We want to put the HTML tag as H3. But let's change the typography. For the weight, we want to put 400 so it will not look bold. And for this, let's change it to this. The size of this is a little big, So I will turn it down to maybe 25. And here we go. Let me quickly input all the text. For the button color, let's be consistent with this. And for the text, let's change this to learn more. Sorry, read more. And we're done with this section. We need some space between this. So let's go to advanced, block spacing, block margin. At the top, we want to put 100. And we are done. Now the last section, which is over here, we have this My Instagram feed. Now the thing is, if you are focused on speed, you don't want to install any Instagram plugins, and you don't want to connect your website to Instagram and have Instagram load its feed to your page, because it will load a lot of unnecessary codes. So what we want to do is to pick the feed that matters and place it here as static content. So your Instagram feed over here would not change when you have added new feeds. But you can put images here and link it to Instagram. So it is important that you select the right feed to be placed on your personal portfolio website. So over on our site, let's select this text. Let's copy this. And over here, let's right click and paste it. We want to align this to center, change this to Instagram feed. And then let's copy this heading. Hit enter, right click, paste it here. And let's align this center. Let's change this to my life as a singer and sound engineer. And before we continue with this section, let's check if these 6 images will be lined up in 2 columns on mobile. Because I know that the current version of Stackable do not have this mobile layout option. If that's the case, we need to rely on another plugin called Cadence Blocks. And yes, it has a 2-column mobile layout. So we have to install Cadence Blocks in this case. And the thing is, Stackable is constantly improving. So if you're watching this video a few weeks or months down the road, you may already have this option. But for this tutorial, we still have to rely on Cadence Blocks. So let's go over to the WordPress dashboard. Let's go to plugins and add new. And let's search for Cadence. Let's install this and activate. Now the cool thing about Cadence Blocks, as with most other Gutenberg blocks, is that if you don't need any one of these blocks, you can just deactivate them. But I don't want to waste your time. Let's just leave it as it is. And let's go back to our page. Make sure we update so we save all the changes. And then let's refresh this page. And now let's add block, browse all, under Cadence Blocks, let's select row layout. And for this case, on the desktop version, we need 6 columns. Here we go. Now let's make this full width. And then within each of these columns, let's add a block, browse all, scroll down all the way, and let's select image box. Next, let's open up the block settings. Under style, we only need 1 column. And as for the height, I would say it is 150. Let's first add an image. Let's upload files and select feed 1. Let's select this and let's add some subtitle. We don't need the description. So let's open up this list view and let's select this image box. Let's scroll down. We don't need the description. So let's toggle this off and let's close this list view. Next, as for the title, we want to make it a H3 title. For the size, let's make it 25. Let's update this and see how it looks like on the live page. This is looking fine, but we probably don't want the border radius because all our images are right angles. So just to be consistent, let's remove the border radius. So over at our block settings, under general, the border radius, let's put this 0. Let's update and let's see how it looks right now. Okay, this looks fine. Now don't worry about the 2 columns yet, we will attend to this in the mobile optimization section. So if we like how this looks like, let's copy this block and paste it over other columns. So let's make sure we have selected the image box layer and let's click on this options, copy. Over here, let's select paragraph, right click, paste. Let's do the same thing here. And now all we need to do is to change the images and the text. So I won't waste your time showing you how I do this. Let me speed it up. And we are done. Let's update this and let's see how it looks like right now. So this is the mobile version right now. And if I expand this out, it looks like this because this is taking full width. But if I want this section to take the content with, all we need to do is to open this list view, select this row layout. Let's go to the structure settings, and over here, let's toggle this on. Update, refresh. Now it looks decent. Now I personally feel that the heading is a little too big and some of the words are broken down. So let's fix this. Under the image box, let's head over to title. Let's change this to 20. Let's do the same for others. Select the next image box. Let's update and let's see how it looks like right now. I think this is much better. And we are basically done with this entire page, and the next step we need to do is to optimize this page for mobile. So let's go. Now the reason I want to leave the mobile optimization all the way to the end, because that way we can see what we need to change. Because some blocks are already mobile optimized and some are not, but generally they are. So let's go over to our reference site. Let's close this off until it looks like a mobile section. And here we go. We have something like this. How about us? Now we need to shift this up and maybe make this mobile section transparent. So here we go. This is the first thing we need to do. For the header, we cannot control it on the page. So we need to go back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking on this. And then let's go to Appearance and Customize. Okay, over here we have this mobile view. Let's click on that. And let's go to Header. And now we are at the header section. Let's see our reference site. The logo is in the middle. So let's shift this logo to the middle. And we have this here. Maybe we want to add a button over here. So let's drag a button down to this. Cool, this is done. Now the next thing is we need to bring this video up because I believe the header section is already transparent. So let's right click on this, open up in a new tab so that we can go to the pages and edit this home page. Let's click on this video background in the advanced for the block settings, block margin. Over here, you see we can select the mobile view. Let's put this as -150 and let's update this. Let's refresh the live page and let's see if it works. Cool, it works. But we did not save the heading. So silly of me. Let's go back here and publish this. And let's refresh. And there we go. This is done. But now we need some spacing here. So let's go back to the page. Open this up and we can see this is the feature that we are selecting. We need to add more spacing at the top. So let's put this as 150 and you can see there are some space over here. And next, what else? Let's scroll down, some space over here as well. So let's click on this. Under Advanced, Block Spacing, 150. And let's scroll down further. I think these are all mobile optimized. And over here, let's click on this. And let's go to Advanced, go to Block Spacing. And at the bottom, we need to add 150. And let's scroll down further over here, which is this block. Let's select this block and then let's hit Advanced, go to Block Spacing. Under the bottom block margin, let's add 150 and we're done with this. Scroll down further. All these are well optimized. And we need to optimize for this because remember, we need this section to have 2 columns. So here we go. Let's select the row layout. And then over at the mobile view, let's select this layout. And here we go. Now let's update this and let's see how it looks like on the live page. Now there's definitely a lot of spacing here. So at the vertical gutter, let's change this to skinny. Let's test this out. So there's a lot of spaces here and here. So over here at the vertical gutter, let's change this to 10 pixels. Next, let's go back to the desktop version As you can see, there's a lot of spaces here as well. Let's change this to 10 pixels as well. And let's refresh this and see how it looks like right now. As you can see, the vertical gap has narrowed. Now we need to fix the horizontal gap. To do that, we have to go to each of the layers and play around with the paddings. So for example, if we go to row layouts, if we go to padding and margin, we want to put the top padding and the bottom padding 0. And then if we go to the mobile view, we want to make sure there is no top padding and no bottom padding as well as margin. Then we have to go to each of the section, make sure there is no padding at the top and bottom. Next, we have to go to the image box. And then as we go to advanced, block settings, for the top block margin, let's put this at 0. And as you can see, this is moving up. And for the bottom margin as well, let's put this at 0. Block padding. And let's go to the next section. The block margin, let's put this at 0. Then let's go to the next section again, and you get the idea. So it's basically playing around with the padding and margin to figure out what is causing the gap. And we have discovered that the image box is actually causing that gap. And I'm not sure why at the bottom row we need the 10 pixels of gap, while on the other layers we don't need. But anyway, let's just update this and let's refresh this. And as you can see, this looks neat. So we've basically completed the mobile optimization, and now comes the most important part, which is whether or not it is worth our time creating this page with Gutenberg, because our expectation is for this page to have a 90+ score on Google PageSpeed Insights. Otherwise, we are just wasting our time. We could have created this page with a page builder. So now let's test this out. So let's do this. I have complete faith in Gutenberg. And let's go. Okay, that's great. We have a 90 out of the box. Let's see what we can optimize. Serve images in next-gen formats. Let's go over to the page. Let's go to installed plugins. Let's add new. Let's search for a plugin called Imagify and install this. Activate. If you don't have an account with Imagify, just click here and sign up for a free account. And once you have done that, they will send you an email with an API key. Copy that and paste it here. And then let's go to the settings. Over at the optimization, let's display images in WebP format. Let's save and go to the bulk optimizer. Now, based on the images provided by Google PageSpeed Insights, let's go to the specific image and optimize them. Let's go to the media and library. Select this image. Let's optimize this. This as well. And then let me fast forward this process. And now that we are done with the optimization, let's analyze this again. Now, if we want to optimize for this, we need to use another plugin called WP Rocket. I'm not sure if we can optimize for this because the video is the main issue and we have optimized this for web already. But let us just try. Let's add new. Now let's upload the plugin. Let me drag in the WP Rocket file and install. Now, if you're serious about page speed, I highly encourage that you check out WP Rocket because it can help you speed up your website by a lot if you know how to use it. And we are done. Let's refresh this page. Let's go to settings and then WP Rocket. Let's go to cache. Let's separate the cache files. File optimization. Let's modify CSS. Optimize CSS delivery as well as remove unused CSS. Before we do anything else, let's save changes and see if it breaks our website. Because if it breaks our website, we have to play around to see which is the setting that is breaking the site. And it is working fine. So that's awesome. Let's continue with modify JavaScripts. Load JavaScript deferred as well as delay JavaScript execution. Let's test this again. It is working fine. Let's optimize further. We don't need to lazy load iframes and videos because this will actually slow down your website on mobile because as you can see above the fold we have a video. But we can enable lazy load for images. And I think that's basically it. Let's save changes. Make sure that the site is working. Okay, great. And let's test this again. And here we go. It went up 3 points. And I think we have satisfied most of the audit. We can't optimize for this because this is the issue I always receive from my SiteGrounds websites. Otherwise, I think we have fully optimized this page to the maximum. And there we have it. That's how we create a fast loading and beautiful personal portfolio website from scratch with Gutenberg for free, specifically with Blocksy and Stackable with a little help from Cadence Blocks. In case you're curious why I'm not using Cadence in this tutorial, I just want to share with you that I love 3 themes: Cadence, Blocksy, and GeneratePress. And I think I've done quite a bit for Cadence already, and I will continue to do more, don't worry about that. But I've hardly created videos for Blocksy and GeneratePress, so I'm intending to do more for the other 2 themes. And if you have any requests, like if you want me to use either of these themes to recreate a certain page, feel free to share them with me in the comments. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you can smash that thumbs up button so that this video can reach others who need to create a personal portfolio website. Now, if you want to know why I love Cadence, GeneratePress, and Blocksy, check out this speed comparison video. And if you're trying to optimize your site for Core Web Vitals, check out the playlist at the bottom. All the best to you, take care, and stay safe.